Let's create a pivotal impact. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Truck Focus podcast. Really excited as today's episode is a recap episode of all of the incredible episodes I was really fortunate to record over the course of March 2022. First off, all of our industry leaders that continue to show up and really just provide exceptional value and creating a pivotal impact on the podcast. Thank you so much. And this month, honestly, it was awesome, and I'm really grateful. So before we dive in, I do want to give a huge shout out to this episode's monthly sponsor, Pioneer Safety Solutions. So Pioneer Safety Solutions is a network of experienced land transportation, occupational health and safety, and environmental consultants that work closely with their customers to understand their needs to construct a solution together. So I really encourage you to learn more about Pioneer by visiting pioneersafetysolutions.com, as well as incredible congratulations as they just had their ELD certified. It is on the Transport Canada certification list, which is an incredible accomplishment. And I'm super grateful just for our alignment as we navigate through this space, because as most of us already know, if you're not aware, now you do know, is come June 12th, 2022, all federal carriers in Canada, unless you meet a certain exemption, are required to have an ELD that is certified by Transport Canada through the whole accreditation process. So again, huge shout out to Pioneer Safety Solutions for being the sponsor this month, as well as congratulations on your certification. So Truck Focus Podcast, our mission is simple. We want to connect as many transportation industry leaders to the industry to help create a pivotal impact. And when I say a pivotal impact, what I mean is if you're at a crossroads, you can go left or you can go right. You're just not sure. So you reach out to an industry leader and they offer you some form of guidance. Maybe it's a direct, here's your instructions. Maybe it's through a conversation and maybe you wanted to vent, they listened, and through that conversation, something became very clear. Whatever it is, the advice that they shared helped you make the right decision. So maybe that's going right. And all of a sudden going right led to a new business deal, or, okay, I solved a problem at work or at home. That's a pivotal impact. And I'm super grateful for our industry leaders, like I said, to continue to show up. And I'm just, very grateful. So again, thank you so much. If this is the first time you've ever checked out a Truck Focus podcast, I really welcome you to our community. And I'm super grateful for your investment of time, as well as to our dedicated listeners. I'm also super grateful for your investment of time, but the fact that you continue to show up, you continue to support the podcast, you continue to support our mission by being involved, by sharing information, by saying, hey, so-and-so said this, and it really helped me here, because ultimately that is our mission. And I'm just super grateful for your investment of time. So again, I do ask that you like this episode, share it out, and subscribe to the channel that you're listening on. That's really important. So as we dive into the good old March recap, I think it's really important to, again, highlight the leaders that stepped up, but also the topics that we dove into, because again, I just think there's so many things that we need to know to be successful in our industry. So episode 86, I had my good buddy Dana back with the Mindful Trucker, and we dove into a topic that, an overarching bubble, you could call it customer service, but there's so many different moving parts into customer service. So we dived into what is customer service. How do you retain customers? How do you satisfy customers? Are there certain things that you could do in advance so that way, by the time your professional driver arrives to the customer, they're meeting the requirements? Is there certain things professional drivers needed to do so that way they're meeting their customer requirements? So really good episode 86. Of course, all of the links for each episode are in the show notes. Highly recommend that you check it out. Second, episode 88. So Teresa, honestly, incredible leader. So she's the owner of Kiy HR Services. And we dove into a couple really cool things. So first, how she took a situation at her place of work that helped create her pivotal moment to launching her business a few years ago now. But we dove into her journey. We dove into what is human resources. So HR, human resources. We dove into what is human resources and how important is human resources when we're talking about a business structure, when you're talking about retention employees, hiring employees, progress, like so many different things. So again, episode 88, and Teresa, you're just such a wonderful industry leader, super grateful. So thank you again for hopping on, but it's a really good episode. If you're wondering, okay, I don't actually know if I have an HR program. I don't know if I have a human resources plan in place. I don't have a succession plan in place. What does that even mean? That's the episode you need to go check out. So again, Super grateful. Thank you so much, Teresa, for your time. Episode 89, my buddy Mike, who is the CEO of Pioneer Safety Solutions, which is also this month's episode sponsor, which I really appreciate. Mike joins the podcast as we walk through his journey in the transportation and oil and gas sectors. And we really focus on his perspective of people and how they're able to use a really people-centric lens when they're dealing with customers and they're dealing with concerns and growth and strategies and implementations, and how Mike, as well as the other co-founder, who's another buddy of mine, Bob, how they use this mindset to really advance Pioneer Safety Solutions offerings. But also it's an incredible journey when I'm thinking of it from a customer's perspective, when you know that, okay, they actually care about my success. They're not just trying to put the credit card machine in my face and get me to tap the credit card. I think that's really powerful. So episode 89, again, Mike, you did an incredible job, and I'm super grateful for your leadership, as well as for hopping on the podcast. Again, it was super awesome. So episode 91 is with my friend Rita Smith. So Rita owns Road Warrior News, which I highly recommend that you check out. Just visit roadwarriornews.com. But Rita has a special skill set and a lot of training. So there's a gentleman who he's not here anymore, but Dale Carnegie, who really was he was light years ahead when we're thinking about things like stress, communication, stress management, elimination of worry, all of these different topics that are super important to us as people. And how does that impact us as people, as society, but in business, in our relationships, all this good stuff. So in this episode 91, what Rita does is she takes me through a live coaching course about what am I most stressed about? And then she teaches me, okay, so once you identify what you're most stressed about, accept it. What's the worst case that can happen? Accept it. But then once you accept it, you need to calmly work through it. So she spends probably a good 45 minutes working me through something that in hindsight, I still, again, it is what it is. But my biggest thing once we got down to, okay, what is it that we can work through is honestly the fact that I sweat. I sweat through my forehead, and I'm like, man, it has limited me in the past, not so much today, just from not doing things because I was embarrassed, or maybe I felt anxiety, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. But going through that journey was really, it was validating for me to say, okay, yes, the years of work that I've done on myself is worth it. But I think there's a lot of good takeaways there if you're navigating through stress and worry right now, because honestly, it's stressful at times, and that's normal. Like, we can't control everything. If we did, I think that'd be super boring, but it's okay. How are we managing our stress once we identify what it is? How do you calmly work through it? And Rita, incredible leader, super grateful for our friendship. So I highly recommend that you check out that episode. And yeah, this is really good. Episode 92, we actually have the Mindful Trucker join us again. Super grateful for my friendship with Dana, as well as we speak with one of his strategic partners, who's also a really good guy. His name's Chris, and he owns Fit for Truckers. And we dive into not just the importance of fitness, but the fact that Fit for Truckers is a incredible program and an incredible organization that's really helping professional drivers and carriers live a healthier lifestyle when they're on the road, but not just physical, but also mental. We dive into the community perspectives. We dive into, okay, what does a win look like? And it's not, I need to lose 100 pounds and I did it in 2 days. It's not about that. It's simple choices that we make to better our lives. And honestly, Chris does a really good job just highlighting his journey and highlighting how for years and years and years, he's been impacting people in such an incredible way with their health and wellness. And then when Dana brings different perspectives into the conversation, more on the mindset stuff, like, oh, it's a powerful conversation. So highly recommend that you check out episode 92. Super grateful also for Chris. He's a new contributor to the Truck Focus newsletter, which I'm super grateful for. Just again, his perspective and his knowledge is so strong, but he's really good at clearly communicating. Okay, shift, make a pivot, create a pivotal impact by doing such. Like, I just think it's really awesome. So again, thank you so much, guys, for hopping on. Episode 93, honestly, this was a highlight for myself as Inspector Alan W. Wintermute, RSC, retired, who's a former officer and inspector in Ontario, joins as we talk about his book, honestly. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to highlight the book right here because I have it and I'm reading it and I'm loving it. So it's Insights from Inside. So it's Alan's experience as an enforcement officer for a handful of years. He was really fortunate to do some really cool stuff. And we dive through just different things that he was able to experience, different areas that he felt was, okay, I left my mark here, but we also get to talk about what he's up to now. And I think that's a really cool part too, is it's not just okay, I had a great career, I retired, that's it. It's like, no, I have a lot of information that I still need to get out to people. So that way people can have the right information. That's super key, especially when we're dealing with commercial vehicle enforcement, if we're dealing with regulations, carrier compliance, all that good stuff. You need to know the accurate information. And Alan does an incredible job just in that episode talking us through, okay, what's his next steps are and how is he impacting people at such a deep level. And again, it's from an organizational level to a professional driver level, officer stuff. It's really exciting. So highly recommend that you check out episode 93. And again, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. Episode 94, another really good friend of mine, his name's Anthony, owner of wcbconsulting.ca. And we talk about, it's really cool. So his perspective, Anthony's journey is really, to me, it's unique because when you have an opportunity and you do really well, then you have another opportunity and you do really well. It's kind of like a juggling act of decisions. Okay, which way do I go? So prior to launching his company, he was actually part of a CFL team and the coaching staff, and his football career. It's pretty cool hearing his backstory, which was in a different episode. But you can see, I grew up playing sports, and I remember so many just pieces of advice that our coaches would share, but it was also how they shared it and the effects of communication. And we go through, okay, if a worker is injured, how do you interview? Or if someone witnessed something, how do you interview? And what is the cost of how we communicate? So I think it's fascinating how Anthony can take that skill set from coaching and really apply it in his business as a mentor and as a coach, helping people go through really difficult times, is making sure that they're compliant to the law, but also that he's there as a empathetic support, as a mentor. He offers training. It's incredible. So again, asking yourself the question, what is the real cost of communication, is a really important question. And we dive into that in episode 94. And again, Anthony, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on, buddy. It was awesome. And he's also a very consistent contributor to the Truck Focus newsletter, which I'm super grateful for. And just his industry leadership is really empowering. It's really encouraging too. We're similar age. We're navigating through these spaces. We're growing. It's really exciting. So again, check out wcbconsulting.ca. Huge shout out to Anthony. And again, thanks so much, buddy, for hopping on. So episode 95, Zach Miller, who is the head of media and business development of Stream. And Stream is a production of trucktractortrailer.com. And Zach, your backstory, buddy, is incredible. So in episode 95, it's a little bit of an introduction, and then we pivot quite quickly into, boom, this is how Zach is creating an impact. So he grew up, and his father was a lawyer dealing with different carriers. So he was, as some younger kids are with family businesses, the administrator, the I'm going to file these papers, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And through that process and through different experiences, Zach's done a really good job navigating, but also creating a huge impact in the transportation industry down south, in the New York area, where it's, from a board level, from an association perspective, to dealing with different types of governments, dealing with different types of industry, to writing. It's NewYorkTruckStop.com, as well as New York Truck Stop Radio, and then getting on with Truck Tractor Trailer, like so much cool stuff. And it really highlights the different opportunities in our industry and the opportunities where you say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to try that. And maybe I'm not very good at it right now, but that's okay. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get good at it. And Zach does a really good job highlighting that, because he's a pro. Like, Zach is a pro in this space. He's a pro when we're talking communication and really digging for information without feeling like he's prying, like really powerful. And again, he just does a really, really good job. So super jacked on episode 95. So again, thank you so much, Zach, for hopping on. Episode 96, which is the last episode of the month, besides the recap episode, of course, is I'm Jack. So when I think of the Truck Focus podcast, a little backstory, I literally had the goal, Avery, my now 12-year-old son, and I had the goal of, let's try a new one a month. And the fact that we're hitting episode 96 in this recap month, to me, is really special, because it really does. I'm not saying this to brag by any means. I think this is more of a shout out to encourage you, where if you want something, just get after it, and one foot after the other. And yes, There's certain things that are really scary. And yes, there's certain things that you just have to suck at. And there's opportunities to get better. And sometimes it's time investment, money investment, whatever it is. But I never thought, to be honest with you, that I could take, now when I say I don't mean just me as Josh, but I as in we as in a collective group of people, industry leaders, could make the Truck Focus podcast go across Canada like we have, but also now that we're across the United States like we are. But episode 96 is really special because we actually have a gentleman named Curtis, who's a trucking influencer, incredible guy in Australia, who is hauling, I don't even know the right language to use. You just have to check it out. This is so cool. But yeah, we hit Australia. We have an influencer in Australia. We've been chatting quite a bit just on Instagram, which shows the power of social media. And yeah, he joins the episode and we really just dive into what is it like trucking in Australia. And then through our conversation, we kind of, I guess, well, I try and do pick apart maybe not pick apart, but we try and identify different opportunities that I'm like, man, that's really different. Or, oh, that's really similar. Okay, crazy. But we're miles or kilometers apart. Like, it's really cool. So for me to know that the Truck Focus podcast is somewhere or has now gone somewhere that even me as a person, I've never physically been, is really cool, really exciting. And I'm really grateful because Zach or Curtis, such a great guy, so funny and really passionate about the industry. And he shares his backstory. It's really empowering, but it just shows what is possible when collectively we work together to serve a mission. And serving the mission is introducing industry leaders to industry to create a pivotal impact. And we're doing it. And I think that's really cool. And I'm so grateful just for everyone that's been here from day one to everyone that this is the first time you've ever checked out a podcast. I think it's phenomenal. And yeah, I'm just super excited for our own milestones to say, hey, like we are on our way to become a global podcast platform to really uplift the industry and highlight just the value of the transportation industry because it's in every country and products have to move from somewhere to somewhere in some way and somehow. That's transportation. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to say, hey, look at the map, look at the little dots. That's where we're speaking to, or this is where someone's listening from. I think it's really cool. But yeah, again, I'm just super grateful. So again, to all of our dedicated listeners and to our new listeners, I'm just so grateful. And I probably say grateful 1,000 times an episode because I really am. And to me, it's really humbling to know that you're investing your time. And I know from industry leaders' feedbacks have come on and just said like, yeah, like it's really nice to hear this. It was really cool to do that. I think that's really special because ultimately it's not every day that someone's willing to say, you know what, I'm going to invest 45 minutes and hear what they have to say. So I really do appreciate that because time is our ultimate resource and I don't abuse it. I don't take it for granted. So I just want to continue to say how grateful we are and to all of our industry leaders that continue to show up month after month, week after week, day after day. I'm so grateful as well to our industry I'm sponsor for this month, Pioneer Safety Solutions, and just I'm really proud of you guys as a company. I'm really proud of the growth and the impact that you're having. And I'm really excited for the next couple of months as certain things come to fruition and just the impact that you're having. And the fact that I get to be a small part of that journey, to me is really cool because again, ultimately our goal is slowly but surely being achieved. And it's because of everyone that's involved. And it's a huge shout out to our dedicated listeners, huge shout out to our sponsor, Pioneer Safety Solutions, huge shout out to our just consistent industry leaders that continue to show up. So super grateful for that. But as we come to a close today, as you've probably noticed, if you've listened to all the way to the end, anyhow, an episode before, I like talking about legacy and I like talking about the impact that we're having. So when I think of legacy, I don't think of it as when I'm gone, what am I remembered for? It's not about that. That might be part of the end result, but that's not what I'm referring to when I ask this question, when I speak on this topic. So when I'm talking about legacy, it is you as a person, you enter a room, you have a conversation with whoever you have a conversation with, you leave the room. How do you leave that room? And I think it's really important that we are mindful of our impact on people. We're mindful on the fact that how we treat others is really important. And I honestly think the last 2 and a bit years has shown that even more, that mental health is real, that showing empathy is a good thing. Being in a position where you could stomp on somebody, but instead you show grace is a good thing. And those are things, in my honest opinion, that matter most. And that's part of our legacy. So my challenge to you for this month as we get ready for April, as we can't believe we're talking about April already. So Q1's almost over, is really think about who am I and what impact am I having? And what is my day-to-day legacy? Are you living with intentionality to say, you know what? Maybe I don't need to be grouchy, or you know what? Maybe I don't need to not be grouchy. Again, that's up to you. What is your intentional, or what's your legacy going to be? That's up to you. I just really think that, again, as we navigate through this space and as we continue just to really expand our horizons as things slowly but surely open up, you're really mindful of that. You're really mindful of, okay, who am I? Who is Josh today? And how am I going to impact people? And maybe that means that you need to have your own little timeout, have a self-talk every meeting and just say, you know what? No, I'm going to look at things neutral or positive. I don't want to be that negative person anymore. Or you know what? I don't want to be the barker anymore that's just going to bark orders. I'm going to have a team engaging meeting, whatever it is. I really encourage you to think about it this month and just think about the fact that you matter and the people you interact with matter. And when we keep it at the human element, titles, get out of here, it doesn't matter. Like the hierarchy matters in the corporate structure, and I get that. But as people, it doesn't matter. We're talking as people. So again, just be really mindful of that and just continue to, kick some serious butt. I think the transportation industry it's really the place to be. It honestly is. It's given myself and so many people that I know just such cool opportunities to do cool things that honestly get involved, raise your hand up, volunteer. And it could be through work. It could be through your industry association. It could be through us, whatever it is, get involved. But again, thank you so much for your time. I could ramble forever, but I get so jacked in that space. So super grateful, super thankful for just, again, all of our industry leaders, and a huge shout out to Pioneer Safety Solutions. Again, just continue to do what you're doing. As always, let's create a pivotal impact. Talk to you later. Bye.